You are not afraid of the right things. You know this. You check your phone in the middle of the night and your heart doesn't move. You walk past strangers on a dark street and feel fine. But put you in a room full of people laughing at something you don't understand, and something inside you tightens. Imagine everyone in your social circle slowly stops responding to your messages. Your chest gets heavy. Your mind starts running. And here is what nobody tells you about that feeling. It is not weakness. It is not a modern problem. It is one of the oldest survival responses in the human nervous system, inherited from ancestors who faced threats you will never encounter, calibrated for a world that no longer exists. The things that terrified ancient humans most were not the things you would guess. And the reason you still feel them today, in a warm room with food in your fridge and no predator within 100 miles, is the most important thing you will ever understand about yourself. Most people assume the answer is predators, starvation, death. Those were real and constant dangers. But when researchers study the deepest fear responses in the human brain, the ones that activate fastest and are hardest to extinguish, predators are not at the top. The fear response most deeply hardwired into the human nervous system is the fear of social exclusion, of being cut off from the group. This seems irrational until you understand what being alone meant 50,000 years ago. A single human separated from their group had a life expectancy measured in days. You could not hunt large animals alone. You had no one to help you if you were injured or sick. The social group was the difference between living and dying within the week, and the human brain treated the threat of social rejection with exactly the same urgency it treated a predator. Because functionally, they were the same threat. In 2003, neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger conducted an experiment that rewrote how scientists understood social pain. She placed participants in a brain scanner and had them play a virtual ball-tossing game with what they believed were two other real players. After a few rounds, the other player stopped passing the ball to the participant. No words were spoken, no one was rude, they were just left out. The brain regions that activated were the anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula, the exact same regions that activate during physical pain. Being excluded from a ball-tossing game produced the same neural signature as being physically hurt. The brain did not know the difference between a bruise and being excluded. For most of human existence, there was no difference. Both could kill you. Now stop. Because this explains things you do every day that you cannot rationally justify. Why you check how many people liked your post. Why being left on read feels worse than it should. Your brain is not being dramatic. It is running ancient threat detection software in a modern environment it was never designed for. The hardware is prehistoric, the situation is not. But social exclusion was not the only deep fear. The second one is stranger. Ancient humans were profoundly afraid of the dark, not in a childish sense, but in a calibrated, life-saving sense. In darkness, every advantage humans had over predators disappeared. We could not track movement, could not read the environment that kept us alive during daylight, and the predators that hunted us had evolved specifically to operate at night. The fact that you triple-check your locks before bed, that you feel uneasy with the lights off, that is not irrational. That is your ancestors keeping you alive in a world that no longer exists, but that your nervous system never received the update about. The third fear surprises people most: contamination. The visceral recoil from things diseased, rotten, or impure. The gag response when you smell something spoiled. This fear is so ancient, it operates below conscious thought entirely. You do not decide to feel disgusted. Disgust happens before you have formed a single rational thought. In a world without germ theory, the only protection a human had against infectious disease was instinct. The brain that recoiled fastest from contamination survived. So the recoil was selected for, generation after generation, until it became automatic and virtually impossible to override with logic, even when you know the thing in front of you is harmless. Picture yourself in a group of 30 people, deep in a forest, 40,000 years ago. The sun is going down. You watch the light leave the tree line, and something in your chest tightens without you choosing it to. You move closer to the fire without deciding to. You scan the faces around you, checking without knowing you are checking that everyone is still there. And if one face is turned away, if there is a coldness in someone's eyes, your body responds before your mind does. A tightening, a low-level alert humming beneath everything else. Because these people are your survival. Their judgment of you is not a social concern, it is biological. Somewhere in the back of your skull, a system built over hundreds of thousands of years runs quietly in the background, asking the same question it has always asked. Am I still in? Am I still safe? You carry all three of these fears right now. The fear of exclusion that makes rejection feel physical. The The fear of darkness that makes midnight feel different from noon. The fear of contamination that makes your body react before your brain catches up. None of them are irrational. All of them were life-saving adaptations in a world your body still half believes it lives in. The ancient humans who felt these fears most sharply survived to become your ancestors. The ones who didn't feel them strongly enough did not survive to pass anything on. Which means the fears you cannot shake are not character flaws. They are proof of an unbroken chain of survivors stretching back 300,000 years. Every one of them felt what you feel. Every one of them made it through the night. And so did you.